podcast episode 6 called Mutts and Marketing, a conversation with the Sacramento Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or the Sacramento SPCA. My name is Hanedi Karaja, and I'm Vice President of Volunteers and Records at AMASV. Today we're speaking with two representatives from the Sacramento SPCA, Sarah and Jessica. Hey, Sarah and Jessica, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, my name is Sarah Veronini, and I am the PR and social media specialist here at the Sacramento SPCA.
My name is Jessica Shijo, and I have Timon with me, and I am the marketing and brand specialist for the Sacramento SPCA.
Thank you. So the mission of the Sacramento SPCA is to foster a loving and compassionate community for companion animals and people by providing assistance, creating lifelong relationships, and saving lives. Since 1892, they've worked to reduce pet overpopulation through affordable spay-neuter services, promote the humane treatment of animals through education and outreach, and assist pet owners through a variety of programs and services designed to keep pets and their families together for life. So Sarah and Jessica, would you mind talking about your roles on the marketing team at the Sacramento SPCA?
Sure, I could go first. So I work in the marketing communications department with Sarah. My role, I do marketing, a lot of digital and print, working with other departments to market our services and our mission. And also I work on continually strengthening the brand consistency of the organization.
And I do social media and PR, so I'm basically kind of a creator of all of the content that goes on social media, and I tend to be the first contact for PR matters if we have a TV interview or some other sort of filming. I also do a lot of the photography and videography for both in the shelter and for events and stuff like that.
Thank you guys so much. So I know that you have events at the Sacramento SPCA. Tell me about some virtual and in-person events.
So this year, we've really tried to work to bring a lot of our events back in person. So we have Doggy Dash, we have our Yappy Hours, we're gonna have Pup Crawl and book sale in person. But we do still keep some virtual. We have our pet loss support group, and we have found that a lot of people from different cities like to participate. So that's one of the reasons that we choose to keep some events virtual, to be able to reach everyone who wants to participate. And for Doggy Dash, Sarah did do a Facebook live feed portion of it to show how Doggy Dash is going. So we still tried to include everyone that we were able to include when we did do a lot more virtual events.
So let's talk about your promotion and sort of the overall brand of the Sacramento SPCA. You build the brand through your marketing efforts. So would you be able to describe the brand to me, and any like elements, images, concepts, or anything in particular that you use to supplement your brand that comes to mind?
Right. Well, so we do have our fonts and our colors and our logos that we really try to be consistent with, especially like with new material that we're creating. We always try to keep that very much in mind, and we are working backwards too to kind of bring up old projects that are still existing. We're trying to implement our brand into those pieces too, but we also, our brand is very much focused on our mission, which really emphasizes community. And so we really want our brand to be inviting, and we want people to feel comfortable when they see all of our pieces out there.
That's awesome. And what role does your mission play in building your brand, do you think?
It's used as a reference to always think about how we're branding all of our collateral and materials and events and campaigns. The brand very much, like, we always try to like reference back to our emphasis on community. And so it's something that we try to strategize to make sure that we don't stray away from the goal that we have of making people feel like we're with the community and we want you to come to us and work with us, and we want our look to be very inviting, and we want people to feel comfortable with it.
For sure, that makes a lot of sense. And to be able to build your brand, you need a few tools to assist you in doing that, including maybe social media or live events that you do. Can you talk about the most important tools that you use to get your brand across to your audience, maybe to those who have never seen you or know of you?
Well, I hope they've heard of us, and if they haven't, please follow us on Facebook. So we use different tools depending on what audience that we're trying to meet. So a lot of times what we do is we have our team meetings every week, and if there's a certain event coming up or information that we want to send out to the community, we talk about that together. And then depending on the audience, if it's a social media audience, I might take that message, massage it a little bit, and make it more social media friendly. Jess might take that same message, do her own little spin on it, and send that out via email to our email group. So it kind of depends on who we're trying to meet. Social media is great for instant communication. Over the last couple of years, that there have been a lot of crises going on with COVID. There were lots of changes on how our shelter was operating. Social media is the best way to get that out right as it's happening. Whereas via email, you have time to kind of work on it, send it out. Social media is, this is happening right now. This is how you can help us and the animals. Please help us, and send it out. So social media is great for those crises, or something that we need right away, or a change that just happened and oops, the shelter is closed today. That's where those messages get funneled to the social media side. And then Jess works on different with different tools.
Yeah, so the tools I work with are like the digital e-blasts, and we also create our twice a year magazine. And we also do digital and physical internal communications. And all of those have very different like audiences, but we still try to make our brand consistent through all of those channels, even social media. So to really like emphasize who we are, and we don't want other people to think we're a different shelter that's in our area. So even if we have a lot of different audiences, we still try to keep our brand consistent.
Let's talk about that magazine for a little bit. Is it an online or offline magazine?
So it's, we design it for physical print copy. We do have a PDF version online, but the big use of it is for our audiences who still like to read physical materials.
So it's really cute. And it's not like it's, you know, a huge book,
Right.
but lots of pictures of the animals that we have here. We usually talk about, in this one, we're talking about the additional care that we provide to our animals. So the dog on the cover had a really intensive surgery. We also thank some of our sponsors in here. We talk about our kids camp. So it's really cool.
Yeah, and like for the big pieces in our magazine, we really try to find good stories that support the need for our services, like the one that Sarah showed. If you saw, the dog was wearing pajamas, but there's a very good reason for that. It was to help with her recovery during medical care. So you'll see a lot of good stories in our magazine, and we mail them out to our supporters, and we do have them in the shelter, and sometimes we do take them out to outreach events.
That's great. And what a nice marketing tool too. It's something that people can like physically hold and keep and remember the organization by. How much of your audience would you say wants a print copy of your magazine?
I would say it's a good amount. I will say that it is not, it is kind of a little bit separate from, say, like Sarah's audience. Sarah's audience, they really like to use like the digital communications, but the audience that reads the magazine, they do like the more physical copies, and that could, some of that is determined by like age or location, but I think we still print a lot and send out a lot.
There's also a group of people that maybe are on the younger side, but are anti-social media for a myriad of reasons.
Yes, yeah.
And so there are some, you know, of the younger millennial and Gen Z that are kind of moving backwards and kind of would prefer to see this versus having to go online and, you know,
Right.
wade through the negativity to find the happy stories.
Yeah, and for anyone who is interested in signing up to receive the magazine, we do try to sometimes have different stories than what are on social media or e-blast. So it's also an incentive to take a look at our magazine, because we try to have different content in there.
So I think you guys have a great variety of content, from your offline and online magazines, social media, and crisis communication. Why do you think your content brings people into your shelter?
I think we have been around for a very, very, very long time. So we have a reputation to uphold. So members of the community that have been here for a long time know who we are and know what we do. I think it's a combination of both our positivity, our positive message, and also because they know the level of care that we provide to the animals and the people in our community. When you are in probably nonprofit worlds in general, but animal shelters in particular, there are two avenues that you can take. One is the 911 emergency, save these dogs, or else something terrible is going to happen. Or there is the, hey, these dogs are doing great here, but we want them to find their families. And it's a more positive, kind of uplifting message. And so I think because we have chosen that positive route, people are happy to come to the shelter versus like, I'm going to go save a dog from prison. It's more, I want to go to the SPCA and walk through the kennels and see all the animals. So I think it's kind of a mixture of those two things.
So I have a social media question for you. You are verified on social, the official Sacramento SPCA. Can you tell me about the process you went through to become verified, and what being verified means to you for the organization's social media platforms?
Sure. So it's a little different depending on the platform. So getting verified on Facebook was pretty easy. We provided them with our 501c3, which has our legal business name and our address and all that good stuff. So that was super easy. Instagram is another story because they have different kind of criteria in order to be verified. So generally speaking, you can't get verified on Instagram unless they think that it is a danger of someone trying to copy you. So basically for that, luckily we are a part of a nonprofit group on Facebook. So we actually have a human being at Facebook that we can talk to, which is amazing. And I had tried probably 6 or 7 times over the last year or two to get verified on Instagram. And I finally just emailed the person and I said, hey, what do I need to do? I keep sending things and nothing's happening. And then they finally verified us. For us, the most helpful thing is shortly after we got verified on Instagram, somebody tried to pretend to be us on Instagram. So I was able to get that shut down immediately versus having to jump through all the hoops. In terms of it helping our reach, I don't have any evidence that it does. I feel like it does, but you know, our engagement and our followers have been pretty high and steady and slowly growing for a few years. So I think it just maybe just helps people feel a little bit more secure and comfortable. If they're asking us a, sensitive question, they send us a lot of DMs. So they know the person that's answering is not, someone else that's trying to scam them, I would think.
That's so interesting. Your worst fear actually came true, and someone pretended to copy or they tried to copy the account, and that wasn't right.
Yeah.
A long but rewarding process
Yes.
to get verified. Okay, so you have a lot of content. You have built your platform. You've reached your audience. Now let's talk about the strategy that goes into it. So consistency is important in the social media marketing strategy. What practices do you employ to keep your assets and your communications consistent?
I'll speak for our department as a whole. We keep really close contact with each other to make sure that the messaging and branding for all the initiatives going on is consistent and we're all on the same page. And we also, everyone in our department also makes it's really important for us to be close with the other departments in the shelter to really make sure that our messaging and our strategy and our branding stays consistent. So people keep knowing who we are and they don't mix us up with anyone else. And we're also working on doing internal education on our brand to educate other people who may also create projects or campaigns who want to create some creative for them. And so we're trying to educate on our colors and our fonts and our style. So we're doing a lot of internal work with that.
So that's great to hear. It looks like if you want to look like you're a united front on the outside, you have to be united front on the inside.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think social very much, Sarah, you talk a lot to different departments about our brand and our messaging.
Yeah, and I think we're really lucky. So a few years ago, our team was a team of two, and it was myself and our director, Dawn. And Dawn has a design background, so it was really helpful to have her come on board as a director and have that be a driving force in explaining to people that this is an important thing. It's not just I want it to look pretty, but to come across as, we want people to know who we are. We want people to see this magazine and go, oh, I know that's the SPCA because that is their look, that's their brand. And so it was really helpful to have that be the driving force. And then as the team expanded, to have Jess's role be a role, because that is so important that we need somebody that is in charge of that and making sure that our brand is consistent and looks good and the products that we are sending out to the community are, inviting.
That's great. And it looks great from the outside. So it's great to hear that you build as you go and sort of supplement your strategy to make it the best it can be. That's awesome. So in doing that, what do you think are the most biggest challenges that you identify in your industry when it comes to marketing?
Well, I will say the biggest challenge right now is, I think every industry is experiencing so much change because of the pandemic, and now like things are lining up, and like with all the operations and logistics and changes, and also like seeing the messaging change with other shelters. And also there are things like staffing shortages that affect operations and logistics. I think all the changes going on, it is a challenge for us to kind of keeping our brand and our messaging consistent, but also like working with all the changes coming about. But I honestly think every industry can relate to this.
In social media land, it's dealing with the negativity. So that got really, during COVID, people were mad and they were leaving nasty comments, even on a very innocent type post. So that has been a little challenging to just keep on moving forward and continue with our message and not get, kind of bogged down by people wanting to be nasty. As far as PR is concerned, it's very similar. When there's so much happening in the world and everything is bad, it's really hard to like get your foot in the door and say, hey, we have like this great story about a dog who's using a wheelchair and got adopted. And it's like you have to find the right time to get that story in, because there's politics, there's fires, there's COVID, and you just sometimes you have a great story that no one picks up on just because something blew up, the day before in the news, and you're like, okay, well, it's not going to happen this week. We'll try next week and cross our fingers that we can, squeeze in there somehow.
That's really important, reading the room and seeing what your environment is, but also still standing by your message. So I admire that, even though times are challenging sometimes, as you described.
Yeah.
So how does marketing support fundraising, and how does fundraising support marketing? Can you describe this relationship?
So it's very close. Our department works very closely with the fundraising teams. And so we help them get the word out. We help them communicate to our audiences, and we, like Sarah, works with media and social media, and like I message a lot to our supporters that we have already. So we work with them to get the message out, but at the same time, having these events, these fundraising events and campaigns, they also help our reach to bring in more supporters and meet new people and new businesses to work with. So they very much work well together, and we do very much help each other out.
Yeah, and social media, Facebook and Instagram, Meta, has really expanded their nonprofit fundraising over the last couple years. So in the past, when I first started in this role, it was really hard to quantify the value of social media. It was, well, we got this many likes, or the dog got adopted, so it must be working. Now we can put a dollar amount on top of that and say, not only did this post do really well or this challenging case get adopted, but we also raised X amount of donations on social media. So that has been great in kind of showing people that maybe were hesitant about Facebook or hesitant about Instagram being all that important, to say, well, here's the amount of money that we raised last year, and it's usually a pretty big number. So it's been really great on that front, and they're always coming up with new tools and new ideas on how nonprofits can raise money. So that's been wonderful.
That's great. Yeah, that's just a great resource that you've found and continue to find with these new tools coming out that allow you to raise money and keep track of it.
Yeah,
that's great. So why is it important to educate people about owning a pet on social? And this is one of my questions, because I had my younger sister adopted a cat last year, and it was our first time being pet parents. So looking back on your social, I found a few different tips that helped me, especially pets getting scared on the 4th of July. For some reason, I thought I was alone. So can you talk about more of the education that you do and why you think it's important?
Absolutely. So education is a vital part of our core values. And a lot of times the content that we're sharing might be something that most pet owners are familiar with, but you have quite a few new pet families over the last few years. With COVID, there was a spike in adoptions, which was wonderful. But you have a lot of people that maybe haven't had a pet in a long time that now have one, or first-time pet owners that maybe don't know about New Year's or 4th of July or microchips or why spay and neuter is important. So in sharing those, you're not only kind of doing a gentle reminder to people that have been pet owners for years and years, but you're also hitting up those new families that aren't familiar with some of these topics. And also, sometimes things go on the back burner, and that happens a lot with booster shots, microchips, and spay and neuter. It's like, oh yeah, like I'll get him his shot, like, and then you just forget about it. Life happens, and sometimes you need that little like mini PSA that says, hey, there's parvo out in the community. You really need to get your puppies vaccinated. And that just reminds them. And then they're like, yep, I'm going to schedule it and do it. So yeah, social's a great way to do that. Plus you get to make like really cute graphics, which I really enjoy. I think Jess does too. So yeah, education is really, really important to us as an organization.
I'm curious if you've received any feedback, like whether in person or on your online platform's website, like how this education has helped pet parents in the greater Sacramento area.
Yeah, so what's interesting is this year we had a school group reach out to us from across the country. And they were like little mini marketers, and they said, hey, like we want to do a little, like create some PSA stuff for you because we've seen your stuff. I don't know how they have, but that was really cool. So we had, I think they were 8th graders, if I remember.
Yeah.
That made our 4th of July PSAs this year. So that was really cute.
It was cute.
It was really nice to see, young kids being interested in marketing, interested in us, and interested in educating other pet families. But we've definitely had, the families where the pet got lost, and because they got a microchip from us, the dog ended up coming back home. So those are always really heartwarming and good reminders of how important, something like a microchip can be.
That story just makes my heart soar because from a fellow marketer, when someone appreciates your marketing, like you can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, it was really.
So another thing is I've noticed that you put statistics up on your website, and I believe I saw it on social media too, such as how many animals were adopted a year, how many meals were given to animals, vaccines that animals received. Why do you think it's important to show your audience the statistics of what you've done? Do you think it attracts them to you more?
Well, first of all, like part of why we do that is we have so many supporters who just are so amazing and they support us. And so we want people to know what your support does and how appreciative it is. I think it is, we want to communicate to them, look at what your support did. Like, it's amazing to see like how much can be done with like the community coming together to like support the animals and the other people in their community. So that's part of the reason. And another reason that we do put it on places like the website or on emails is to also remind people of our services. Like we offer a lot. It isn't just spay neuter, it isn't just adoptions. We offer a lot to the community.
Yeah, on social, it's basically to say thank you. This is what, your likes and shares and your, support on social helped us achieve these goals. And it also does spread the news of programs that maybe aren't sexy to talk about, but that we have and are needed, and maybe someone was too scared to ask us about free pet food. But if they see that we provided this many meals to the community, they'll look more into it on their own and end up using that service.
And I feel like these statistics that you present makes you look more credible too. Like you've put in the work and now you're showing something for it. So I admire that you do that.
Yeah, it's definitely a way to close the story, because you do the ask, you get hopefully the support, and then you need to show what you did with that support. And so it kind of closes the story on what we're asking the community to help us with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So now let's talk about the community, because I know community is really important to you. So how would you find the Sacramento community's role in your organization?
Well, we are a completely nonprofit organization. We do not receive funds from the government. So without the community, we would not be here. So it's very integral for the community to support the work we do and be on board with our shelter and our programs. And so, yeah, I mean, basically they keep us running. They keep the dogs finding homes. They keep the animals getting the care that they need. And we couldn't do it without the community. For sure.
That's awesome. And you do some great work. So it's great to hear that you have the support you need too.
Yep.
So you host a weekly live feed on your social media feeds. And how did this idea come about? And have you noticed a difference in your foot traffic since using this as an engagement tool, like your Wednesday live feeds that you do on Instagram?
Yeah, so that has had quite a lot of twists and turns in its story. It started many years ago, probably over 6 or 7 years ago, and I had just done, a quick short video of walking through the kennels and posted it, and it ended up doing really well. And so the following week, I thought, I guess I could try like a live tour and see what happens. And with Meta's ever-changing algorithms, it has gone up and down in terms of the actual reach. So a few years ago, we were reaching hundreds of thousands of people with the live feed. The reach has gone down. However, there's a new option that Facebook has started called Stars, which is a way to kind of reward creators if you like their content. So now what it's kind of turned into is there is a small core group of people, about 100 people that watch every live feed as it's live, donate stars, which is money, and they have become almost like friends of the organization. So they remember what happens on every live feed. They want to know what happened to the dog they saw last week. They are on Pepper's fan club, which is a dog that we've had for about 6 months now. So that's been really cool. During COVID, it was awesome because we were closed to the public for about a month, and then we had switched to appointment only for a period of time. So people couldn't come in and walk through the kennels. So then they were using the live feed to kind of replicate the experience of walking through the kennels and seeing the animals available and who they might want to adopt. Because at the time, kind of your only option was a photo on the website, and that doesn't really always tell you everything about a dog or a cat. But me walking through the kennels, interacting with them, hearing a cat purr or seeing the dog sit for a treat would inspire people to get online immediately and make an appointment for that dog right there that I saw in the video. So yeah, the live feed has kind of gone up and down in all sorts of different ways as to how it's helpful. Right now, it's a way to connect with some of our longtime and big supporters that go out, that take what they learn in the live feed and then take it out and tell their friends and share it and talk about all this good stuff that we're doing here. So yeah, it's been very helpful in different ways at different times, I would say.
Wow, that's like crazy how you like literally brought people in to come and see pets and schedule an appointment since that was the only way of doing it. I'm curious if you think that helped brand new pet owners and make it like a less intimidating process to take a virtual tour of the shelter instead of like getting the nerve up to actually go in and see animals.
Yeah, I think so. And it does kind of tie back to the positive nature and that shelters aren't scary, which is kind of a personal goal of mine. Is I do not like when people say I can't go to a shelter because I would just cry, or I'd feel so bad for all the animals. My goal is to switch that around and say, this is actually a really, really cool place for a lot of these animals. These dogs are getting walked 4 or 5 times a day. They're getting pumpkin filled Kongs. They get Destructibles. They get bathed. They get read stories to. The cats, our cat volunteers are very, very into the cats. So they will sit in a condo with a cat for like 3 hours and just petting them, or if the cat doesn't want to be pet, they'll just sit with them. So, the live feed is a great way to show, a lot of these things are happening in the background as I'm walking through. So I don't necessarily have to say, like, look at everything that we're doing, but people can see it. They can see the volunteer that's taking the dog out to walk. They can see the volunteer passing out Kongs. And it just kind of softens the image of an animal shelter, that it's not, I know we have kennels, I know we have cages, we kind of have to, but they're not scary. There's beds, there's toys, there's all sorts of fun stuff for them. And so I think it does help for people that are nervous about animal shelters to actually feel a little bit more comfortable that they're not going to walk in and start sobbing. It's not that kind of place.
That is so great to hear. I love that. And my sister's also a volunteer at a shelter, and she gets to see cats playing in little cat room, and it just opens up my eyes because I wouldn't know either way. I mean, I wouldn't know anyway. And I don't know if you've heard the term before. I want to adopt them all. That's how I always feel. So it's just awesome to hear that pets can still have a fun time even before they're adopted.
Oh yeah, and when people say I'd adopt them all, I tell them to look at my back wall, which is we do adopt them all, and then
We adopt a lot of them.
yeah, and then when you can't adopt anymore, you foster, and then that's
Yeah.
how you get your fix.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I love that. So, what future engagement opportunities do you see taking place with the Sacramento community, like maybe new campaigns or events?
I think continually working toward more and more in person, and like picking up where we left off, like before COVID, because COVID it made most of our events virtual, and picking up just growing our programs and campaigns with in person, because that's so many people have so much fun. Like for example, our doggy dash. It was outside of William Lamb Park. There were so many people dressing up, bringing their families, and we wanted to keep seeing those just grow.
And we're seeing a lot of more kind of business collaborations now that things are opening back up. So whether we just worked with Burger Patch for a roundup campaign where you can round up your bill, and that extra money went to us. We have Drag Queen Bingo coming up in September. We have Slashy Hours at a local dog boarding place. And so now that the world is kind of settling down in terms of COVID, we can increase those and start having more of these kind of collaborations and little dog friendly events that people, if they feel comfortable, can go to and support us and have fun at the same time.
That's awesome. So, one last question for you. Let's talk about foster care. How do you tell the community on your social pages website about foster care, and talk to me about how it's an important part of your operations at the Sacramento SPCA?
Absolutely. This is a cause near and dear to my heart. Prior to being in PR here, I led the foster department for about 8 years. So it's a big passion of mine. Foster care saves lives. So whether you are fostering bottle baby kittens that came in with no mother, or you're fostering a dog that just had surgery and needs to recuperate for a few weeks, you're absolutely saving lives. And so at the start of COVID, there was a huge spike in people wanting to foster. They were home, stay at home order. They were working from home. They had time to foster. And that was amazing. Now that we're going back to normal, a lot of those have maybe dropped off, or they've gone back to work, or they're out vacationing. But we definitely still want to tell people that fostering is still important. It's still needed. There's hundreds and hundreds of kittens coming into all local shelters right now, that some just need a week or two of being fed and fatten up before they can find their new homes. So there's definitely different options for foster care depending on what your abilities are. So if it's summertime and you have a vacation coming up in a month, you can still foster. We can give you some kittens that just need a week or two, and then you bring them back. And let me tell you, that's really fun, because then you get all the cuteness of kittens and then you give them to somebody else. Then you don't have to deal like with anything else. It's like having babies around that you then hand off to somebody else. So kittens and puppies, especially puppies this year, I've never seen so many puppies in the shelter like we have this year. And puppies are so cute and they're so fun and they're so good to give to somebody else when they start getting bigger. So you can definitely get your fix and then take a break. So especially for people that maybe don't feel comfortable taking on the responsibility of a full-time pet, maybe you just aren't ready to jump that bridge yet. Foster for a couple weeks here and there, and maybe you fall in love with a breed that you never thought you wanted before. We see that a lot too, where people think they want a lab puppy, and then they foster lab puppies and they go, oh no, I think I need an older dog. and it's great, because that means not only did that puppy get help from you, we also found out what's really going to work for your lifestyle and situation, and potentially we're going to save the life of a senior dog that you would have never looked at before because you thought you wanted a puppy. So there's just so many ways that it helps the animals in the shelter, that I cannot stress enough that fostering is amazing and everybody should do it.
That's great, and a great learning experience too, as you mentioned.
Yes.
A great opportunity for people to experience different furry friends in their life, without full responsibility, and just a great time. I feel like it would be.
It's very fun. I mean, I do primarily kittens, and so part of the fun is naming them. So we come up with different themes for every litter of kittens that we have. So right now we have Ren and Stimpy. And you have fun with it. Kids really enjoy it. I mean, what kid doesn't want to play with kittens at home? And then when the kittens are ready, they go back, and the kids kind of understand. You start opening up the idea of helping other people, that yes, the kittens are cute and we love to keep them all, but these kittens can go off and find new homes, and then we can help new kittens. And it's just a wonderful program, and I love it dearly.
Yeah, I recently fostered a pregnant guinea pig who gave birth, but it was a very good educational experience for my son. He was able to see the whole birthing process. And I think, yeah, it is good for kids and just other friends and family in your community and your circle to like learn about this whole process. And it also educates about the animal shelters too.
That's awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys' time, Sarah and Jessica. I will have all the information for the Sacramento SPCA below this video, where you can find information about adoptions, spaying and neutering, and different other pet needs on their website, and all their great work on social too. And next we have a tour of the shelter. So Sarah, Jessica, if you'd like to talk a little bit more about what our audience can expect to see in this tour, that'd be great.
Sure. So basically, we're going to show you what our adoption center is like. So it's kind of like a replica of our Wednesday live feeds. It'll be, we'll take a walk through the dog runs, our cat room, Cattery, our small animals, and we may give you a little sneak peek of our animal health center, which is our newest project that's completed, where we spay and neuter, and do all of our fun kind of quirky surgeries.
But it's new, and it's a really amazing building.
Great, awesome. So this tour is going to be filmed close to when the final interview is posted. So if you see a pet that you like, make sure to go to the Sacramento SPCA and ask about it. you may be able to bring that pet home with you.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you guys very much again for your time. It was great chatting with you and your different strategies that you use to get the word out about your animals. And all around, it was a fun time for me. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Hi everybody, we are here at the Sacramento SPCA and we are going to take a tour of our adoption center and meet some of our available animals, and then we're going to take a little walk and visit our new animal health center, and you'll be able to see our brand new building and all the great things that we provide the community there. So come on, let's go. Hey everybody, so we are here in our adoption center, and what we're going to do first is walk through our dog kennels. So if you were here looking for a dog to adopt, you could walk through the kennels, meet all the available dogs. If you see one you like, you can take them out to a little yard, spend more time with them, and hopefully adopt them. So let's take a walk through and meet some of our cute faces. We've got a lot of dogs today. A lot of these dogs were transfers from other shelters, so we help local shelters in our community when they are full. So in here we've got Shadow. This is a new friend. So Shadow is a 6-year-old lab mix. He's real handsome. And sometimes it takes them a little bit of time to get used to the new surroundings. So some dogs might be a little shy right off the bat, but the longer they stay here, the more outgoing they become and more personality we see. So let's see who else we've got here. This is Rambo. This is our au naturel Roddy. So normally Roddies have docked tails, but his tail's all natural, which we love. He's super handsome. So he's about a 2-year-old Roddy. Let's see if we can. Mason! Oh, there you are. Hi, Mason. So Mason's a beautiful shepherd that we have. He's 2 years old. And shepherds are kind of a breed that we're seeing a lot of in shelters right now. In the past, it used to be primarily pitties and chihuahuas. Now we're seeing a lot of shepherds, a lot of huskies. And usually in that 1 to 2-year-old age range, that's when they go from cute, tiny puppy to big, cute, no longer tiny adult. And they need a lot of exercise, they need training, and sometimes that's just a little bit more than some people are ready to provide. So that's why you're gonna see a lot of these kind of 1 to 2-year-old larger breed dogs. This is Boss. Boss is a new friend. He came in and they were calling him a Newfoundland. Newfies are usually about 100 pounds and up, and he is only 80. So we think he might have something smaller in there, maybe like Border Collie. He is about 1.5 years, so that same age range. He's real cute though. I like his little wings on his ears. Hi, Boss! All right, let's see who else we have. Oh, this is our big boyfriend. This is Milo. Love Milo. He is another 8-month-old shepherd mix. It's okay, Bubba. And Milo loves to swim, so his favorite thing is to go swimming in our outdoor kiddie pools. We've got these new friends who are recent transfers. So there's 3 altogether. They're little hound mixes. You can tell by the big floppy ears. Come on up. Come on. You do get it? It's okay. Yeah, you get it. Good job. Good job. So this one is named, what's her name? Darla. And we have a couple more. We also get little small guys. So this is Slinky. Slinky is a 3-year-old Chihuahua mix. Cute as a button. So all of this is stuff that you can do when you come down to our shelter. You're allowed to walk through the kennels and meet all these cute dogs. If you see one you like, you go up to our front desk and fill out an application, and then you meet with a counselor. And you can go into an outside yard, spend some time with them, see if they're the right fit for you. This is another recent transfer. This is Banjo. He's a little Border Collie mix. Let's see if we can find someone else that's been around for a minute. Oh, yes. Miss Lizzie. Hi, Lizzie. Hey, Lizzie. Hey, Lizzie. pity mix. So in addition to those young larger dogs, we also get super seniors, is what we call them. So upwards of 13, 14, 15 years old.
Supervisor, please dial 9003. Animal care supervisor, please dial 9003. Thank
So
you.
for our senior dogs, what we provide is something we call the senior special. So we do blood work, we do a dental, a lot of times with extractions, before we adopt them out. So what that means is you can adopt an older dog without immediately having a vet bill that you have to pay. And so that's kind of an incentive for people to look at these older dogs that are kind of ready to go. We've given them everything that they need. You can adopt them and just love on them instead of adopting them and immediately needing to take them to get all of this medical care. So let's see if we have anybody else here. Hello, hello. Our volunteers come and walk our dogs every morning, so a lot of them are out on walks right now. This is a newer friend. This is Huey. And Huey is kind of a little mixy mutt. We call them Heinz 57s. So he's got a little bit of husky in him, a little bit of border collie, maybe some pity, because just about everything has a little bit of pity in it. He's real handsome. Yeah, thank you for the kisses, bud. And to give you a little bit more information about what are these things, these are our barriers. And what these are for is to help dogs stay a little bit calmer in the shelter so that they're not staring at each other all day. So we have a dog in this kennel too. So with these barriers, if the dogs want to have a little bit of quiet time, they can. This is Diesel. This is a Great Pyrenees mix, which is one of my favorite breeds. Basically, they're guardian livestock dogs. So they're used to living on lots of property, kind of guarding the herd. And usually they're pretty calm and relaxed. He's very handsome. He's only a year old. So once again, that 1 to 2 year old age range. This is Sasha, who I just met today, and she's one of my new favorites. So she's a happy little mix. She's about 7 years old, even though she doesn't look it. And about 60 pounds. She's lived with dogs and kids before. She's just a real sweet girl. Hi, Sasha. Hi, Sasha. I think I'm going to start calling her Sasha Fierce. And let's see if we have any small guys. Here's a little small guy that's not available yet. He's a recent transfer, and I think he has the cutest little eyebrows. Hey! His name is Pico de Gallo, which is also a very, very cute name. So he'll hopefully be available soon. He still needs to be neutered, so we got to work on that. And that's another great thing from adopting a dog from the shelter. They are spayed and neutered, they're microchipped, they have vaccines, they have flea preventative. That all is included in that really low cost adoption fee of $110 for adult dogs and $200 for puppies. The reason for the higher adoption fee for puppies is that everybody loves puppies. They usually have no trouble getting adopted. So with that higher adoption fee, we can start discounting some of our senior dogs that need a little bit more help. This is Jack, another little shepherd mix. And you can see, even though we have a lot of shepherds, they all look a little bit different. So just because it's a shepherd mix doesn't mean all of our dogs look the same. They all have their own unique kind of look and style. This is one of my favorites. He's not available yet either, but he's real cute. His name is Chopper. And Chopper is a good example of all the bully breeds that are coming into the shelters right now. So these kind of exotic French bulldog, squatty, snorty dogs. They're very sweet, but they do come with a lot of health issues. So he needs a lot of work before we can get him available for adoption. So he's awaiting surgery. He's going to have a cherry eye repair. We're going to take a look at his palate and see if he's able to breathe okay, and if not, we can do a palate resection. So lots of things that we do for our dogs here before they're available. Here's a little teeny tiny, because I know the tinies are always, she's so tiny you can barely see her. This is Rin. Rin! Hey! Rin! Hey, Rin! Hey! Let's do a squeaker. Let's see. Hey! Hello! Rin! Look up, babe! Hello! Oh, I'm not leaving until you look up. I just want to teach you that there's a whole world. Hey! Hi! Hello! Good morning! Hello! Yeah, you can see us up here. So Rin, I thought Rin was a puppy, but she's actually 2 years old. She's just super tiny. She weighs, how much do you weigh, Rin? 4.5 pounds. So this is a teeny tiny little pocket chi. She's very cute. Yeah, you gotta learn to look up. Yeah, we're all up here. Boop, boop, boop. And we'll see if our friend Pepper is here. Pepper is our longest resident, but because she's been here so long, a lot of times she gets special treatment. So she's not always in her kennel because a lot of times she's in offices. So she's in offices right now. But you can see all the cute stuff. Our camp kids filled this out. We have Camp Kindness, which is a summer camp for kids where they learn about dogs and cats and shelters. So they wrote this nice one right up for her. So next we're gonna walk over and see our kitty cats. So here we are in our adoptions kittery, and we are full of kittens. So spring and summertime is the time that we like to call kitten season, because we just get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kittens that come through our doors. So a lot of these are kittens that grew up in foster care or came in as strays. I'm gonna take just a few out, and we're gonna start with these ones because they are darling. So these are little Siamese mixes. Hi, come here. So these guys are stray kittens that just came in. They're a little bit too small to be spayed and neutered, so they will probably go to a foster home where they can grow up and get nice and fat. That way they can get spayed and neutered and adopted. So this is the kind of cute thing that you could foster if you sign up for a foster orientation. Basically, your job is just to love on kittens and feed them, and then when they're big enough, they come back. So you get all the kitten love and fun, and then when it's time for them to go back, you take them back to the shelter. You're awfully cute. Yes, you are. So another thing about kittens is when you adopt from the shelter, the kittens come fully prepared too. They're spayed and neutered, they're vaccinated, they have microchips, flea prevention, deworming, kind of anything that you can think of. And there are so many kittens here in the shelter. We've got these cute little kind of 3-month-old ones. And so it's really important, you know, if you are looking for a cat or kitten, please come to a shelter and adopt, because there are just so many that need great homes. This room sometimes is completely full of kittens. These guys I met last week, and they're very silly. And kind of any color you can think of. Some people have certain colors of cats that they love. I really love orange tabbies. So if you have a type of cat that you love, the shelter will probably have it available. And if they don't have it available today, they might tomorrow. So every day the selection here changes. Kittens get adopted relatively quickly, but there's always new kittens to take their place. So when you're adopting a kitten, you're not only saving that life, you're saving the life of the next kitten that comes in, because now they have a space to go to. You'll see there's lots of black cats and kittens. That is kind of the color that maybe is not the favorite of people out there in the community, but black kittens also tend to be some of the friendliest. So, hi. It's almost like they know they have to be extra cute and sweet. Hi. Hello. We got some tuxedos in here. Here's a very pretty torty calico. Little white mittens. So yeah, you can see kind of all the colors of the rainbow in here. And now we're gonna go next door and meet some of the adult cats. So now we're in our adult cattery, which is a lot quieter than the dog runs and even quieter than the kittery. We have lots of adult cats that are looking for their new families, and adult cats kind of have it rough in a shelter. It's really hard to compete with the cuteness of kittens. And a lot of times our adult cats are sleeping during the day, and so you can see in some of these kennels you don't even see a cat, and that's because a lot of them are just kind of snoozing. Adult cats like to sleep. So sometimes it's really hard for us to show them off. We've got one that's in the cute little windowsill in here. This is Bumper, a 1-year-old little tuxedo mix. And we've got some more in here. Adult cats, because they have such a hard time getting adopted, we have a lot of adoption specials for them. So typically their adoption fee is $45, but on Fridays it's only $5. So that's how badly we want to get our adult cats out and into homes. We also have a number of sponsors, businesses and individuals that sponsor cats that are 9 years and older. So all cats that are 9 years and older are free. We have another generous sponsor that sponsors cats that have medical conditions or bonded cats. So their adoption fees are sponsored. So a lot of times it's just kind of looking into what kind of animal fits best in your home. If you're not home a lot and you kind of need a low-key animal, an adult cat might be the best fit for you. So these guys, they're older, they've gone through the kitten shenanigans. They really just want a lap, some food, and probably a couch that they can sleep on. And you know, if you want that kind of low-key companionship, then an adult cat's probably a good fit for you. Here we've got Squirrel. So Squirrel is 12 years old, doesn't look 12 years old, little female. Super sweet, very chill. These cats are more likely to be a little bit cleaner than kittens, so they're litter box trained. Hi. And you can see their kennels are relatively spotless because there's not a whole lot that they do. They do play a little bit each day, but most of the time it's eat, sleep, and nap, which is kind of where I'm at post-COVID time. I'm just ready for a nice, relaxing life. So adult cats are definitely my jam right now. And next up, we're going to say hi to our small animals. So we're here in our small animal room, and a lot of times people don't realize that shelters do get small animals. So we're talking rabbits, guinea pigs, cute little hamsters like this. People typically buy these in pet stores, and then when they're no longer exciting, or maybe they're a little bit more work than people thought, then they show up here at the shelter. So it's really important to know, like, if you are interested in some of these kind of pocket pets, as we call them, make sure to check your local animal shelters. We do spay and neuter all of our rabbits, so you can make sure you're not heading home with accidental babies, which is another thing that sometimes happens when you purchase from pet stores. Adoption fees for these guys kind of vary. We almost always have rabbits. Rabbits are kind of the third most popular pet in animal shelters. We do occasionally get guinea pigs, hamsters, and then very rarely we'll have birds, reptiles, maybe turtles that come in. And so you can always make sure to check your local animal shelters if you are interested in some of these smaller pets. So we're here in front of the Zoe K. McCrae Animal Health Center. This is our newest building, and this is the building where we provide spay and neuter both to the community as well as the animals in the shelter, as well as a low-cost vaccine clinic and microchip clinic. We also have low-cost wellness services available for community members that have a hard time paying for vet fees and they need kind of routine care for their animals, like heartworm tests or ear cleaning and that sort of thing. So we're going to take a quick look inside just so you can see all the surgeries happening, and then we'll end our tour. So this is the surgery area for our animal health clinic, where we do approximately 50 spays and neuters every day, and then on Sundays we have a feral cat clinic which can spay and neuter up to 100 cats every Sunday. So this is where the magic happens. If you happen to get a pet from somewhere other than a shelter, definitely give us a call, visit our website to get that animal spayed and neutered so that we can work on the overpopulation in the community. We can also do other surgeries here. So for our super senior dogs that get the dentals, this is where that happens, as well as some other surgeries like eye removals or splints or leg amputations. We can do it all here. Our staff in this building is amazing. They love the animals so much, and we're so excited that this building can help us spay and neuter even more animals in our community. So thanks for watching, and visit our website if you want any more information, sspca.org. Thank you so much, and we'll see you later.